Victoria, welcome to Us Weekly.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in and welcome to New York.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here.
We were just talking about your adjustment. It's been 2 weeks. How's it going so far?
It's been an adjustment for sure. Just I think my transportation, my morning routine, I told this to everybody who's asked like how the adjustment is going. In Dallas, I could easily wake up at like 9:15, be in my car at 9:25, and be at my place with much time to spare for a 10 o'clock appointment.
Yeah.
I need to get up like 3 hours ahead of time to do all the things.
Right. The research, the subway.
Yes. I actually went all the way down to Central Park when I was, so it took me 2 trains today to trial and error.
Yes.
But we'll get there.
That's part of it. The trial and error
Yeah.
is important.
Exactly.
It hasn't been a long time. Don't worry about it. You'll get
Okay.
there. And you'll always have the phone.
Well, and I'm obviously very low budgeted, so I'm strict on my budgeting right now. And I'm so thankful that if you mess up on the subway, you don't have to go up to then repay to enter.
That's right.
I can just stay underground.
You're looking for Victoria in New York. She's underground.
I am yes, you can catch me there for probably half of the day.
Please help her find which line of the train she needs to go on. That's so funny. Okay, we're going to dive more into your New York journey in a minute, but we got to talk about the Netflix show, being a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. I have so many questions. My first one is just, when you found out that Netflix was doing the show, because obviously CMT had done stuff with the Cowboys before, when you found out Netflix was doing America's Sweetheart, what was your initial reaction?
I honestly, I was really like, oh God, another show. That's where I was like, oh no, just because I feel like my experience with CMT was a very PTSD. Like being called into the office so many times, I was like,
Yeah.
so definitely I was just like, okay, this is gonna be questionable just because we didn't know really exactly what route they were gonna take and what the storyline was gonna be. If it was gonna be kind of like CMT where it was very drama sing.
Cutthroat.
Yes,
Savage.
exactly. Exactly. But the more, like the first day that they filmed with us, they were so lovely and they were just very much kind of like, it almost felt like a vlog where they was just like on the fly, very casual.
Okay.
And the producer, Greg, he is amazing. The crew was amazing. All the cameramen, all the mic people, and they just really made you feel comfortable. So I think it was after, they weren't with us like throughout the whole football season. They came in like little spurts. And each visit that they came, it just like got so much better.
Okay, that's so interesting. So it felt a little bit more like the whole process and maybe about like your personal stories versus just like the tryouts, which is obviously very fun for us to watch, but very stressful for you guys.
Yes, well, even the producer, Greg, he came in and he told us his intentions about like what his goals was. He told us to reference back to cheer if we like wanted to see anything or get like a good point of view of what he was going for. And after that, I was like, okay, my goal now is just to be like the honest, true Victoria.
Right.
And so that's what I had going into it.
And obviously you and your mom kind of ended up being, there was like, I don't want to say main characters because this was like your lives, you're not playing characters, but everyone had, certain cheerleaders had more spotlight on them, you know, and obviously that's what happens so we can, as an audience, understand the story, follow certain people. It makes sense. Did you know when you were filming that you were going to be one of the like highlighted cheerleaders, or like how did you know? Obviously they were filming with your mom, like how did you know? Did you know at all? I
knew that they had filmed quite a bit of us. I mean, they were there for the birthday. They were there for a lot of my life, especially this past year.
Yeah.
And I think just how I was saying, like, I really wanted to just go in being authentically me. I think that really resonated and connected with Greg, the producer, and he really genuinely liked that and connected to that. Whereas I still feel like, I can't speak for them, but I feel like some girls might have had that same hesitation that I did at first, and it just took them a little bit longer to kind of ease up into them.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. Let's get into some of the nitty gritty because the relationship with Kelli is so fascinating to me. Can you just explain to me a little bit what it was like growing up? Like obviously your mom was a cheerleader. What does that, is it an advantage? Is it a disadvantage? And what was like your relationship first just with Kelli before you were going into cheerleading?
Okay, before cheerleading, it was like I was honestly a part of the family and vice versa with her kids. We wouldn't have to knock if we wanted to go over to the house, like didn't need to text or call, be like, hey, I want to come over. We would just walk into each other's houses. And my older brother, who's a year older than me, Tristan, and Kelli's son, Ryan, they played high school football together.
Okay.
So I got to see the whole like inner cheerleader spirit from her also. Like they brought cowbells to the games. They would be yelling their lives out. So definitely just like families knit in together.
And then when you decide you want to try out for DCC, obviously that must be an interesting conversation. How does that go when you're initially like, I'm going to do it? Are you like, is it more pressure because you know her? Is it an advantage because you kind of have had, obviously, grew up around it? Like, what is that like?
Well, I think there was no really like set in stone conversation. Be like, hey, Kelli, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I want you to prepare for. There was no conversation like that because Samantha, her daughter, and I, we would go into nights of training camp when we were 13, 12 years old.
Right.
And we would be there like watching Kelli and Judy like do her thing, CMT. So I definitely like grew up knowing, and I think she knew as well, that I was going to end up doing this.
Right.
But I think it took us a while to find that happy medium of, okay, I know you in the outside, but also I can't.
Yeah.
So it definitely took like just time to kind of figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Is it something that the other girls talk about? Because it's not just you, there's other girls on the squad. It makes sense that if you saw your mom do it, you saw your aunt do it, someone in your family, you would want to be a cheerleader.
Yeah.
It makes total sense. But is it like discussed? Are people like, oh, jealous or think it's an advantage or a disadvantage? Or is it just like it's a fact, some people grew up around it and some people didn't?
I think some people think it's an advantage in my case because I was so close. It would be different if my mom was just on the team at the same time as Kelli or even just was a cheerleader and I was just simply a legacy. But I think that added in undue of, oh wait, no, your mom is best friends with her as in kind of the complication. And I think people probably think that, oh, I'm gonna go over to Kelli's house and be like, "What? Give me the tea."
Yeah.
But that's definitely not the case. And in fact, I find it kind of harder in my case just because I do know her and she's trying to, I feel like kind of honestly start from scratch zero from me trying to act like and push aside that personal relationship that we have. And so she kind of, I feel like gives me, or what felt to me in a sense, more of that like hard, cold shoulder, so she wouldn't ever play into that favoritism.
Right. So going the other way, kind of. What's your relationship like now?
She's texted me saying like good luck in New York, but right now she's heavily into training camp. So haven't heard much from her. Before the show came out though, I did go to Mexico to celebrate. I was in her daughter's wedding.
Okay.
But that was like the last big connection we've had.
Do you feel like it'll all be good next time you're back in Texas or times you guys would see each other, like, or do you feel there's a little like maybe disconnect there?
I don't know. I think that's to be determined.
Okay.
But in my, like how I'm feeling right now, I can't see myself like wanting to attend a DCC event anytime soon.
Okay. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
What was your decision? Obviously, the viewers saw you. Those meetings are brutal. It's fascinating to go in with like
It's scary.
return the uniform left or right, and like one you're trying to kind of comprehend left, right. What are we doing? And then putting it down,
Putting it on right.
putting it on right. Like you make the right. I feel like someone
I put it on the right, wrong, the right direction on the rack.
Somebody put it on the wrong rack, like, and was whatever. So that's a lot. It's like an exit interview for a job.
It is.
Right. So you at that point were kind of unsure. Then you decided you were going to try out. Then obviously we fast forward a couple months later and you decided not to do that. What'd we miss? What happened?
Okay, so initially I had gone in with the intentions of hanging it up on the yes, I'm re-auditioning.
Okay.
Like I had my mind set in stone on that. I already had plans on, I had my solo song all planned out. I had my choreographer all planned out and I was gonna fly out to meet with him and get my routine set. I had all of the things, like my costume was designed by me, like I was ready.
Do you guys pay for like all of that yourself, obviously, to then prepare for the audition?
Yes.
That's also probably a lot.
So yes.
Just in general, like that's a lot to plan, to pay
It's
for.
It's kind of like pageantry, like you have to pay
Right.
for your own ball gown, all the things.
Okay, so you had it all planned out. And what happened?
And I didn't want to test them, but I just wanted to see if we were like on the same page. Because from growing up around it, I've always known and have learned that you can sometimes overstay on the squad. And I never wanted to do that. Like, that wasn't what my goal was, never my intention. And so I just wanted to make sure that they were like, yes, we want you back.
Yeah.
Especially as a fifth year, you kind of, I don't know, in a sense, almost not have earned that, but I mean, you spent 4 years on there. You want to have that almost like reassurance, like, yes, we still want you here. Like, yes, you're still valuable. And obviously, in the meeting, y'all saw 5 minutes of it. It was a minute, it was an hour and a half.
Oh, wow.
Of a meeting.
That's a long time.
It was a long time, and it was just as like what everybody else saw on Netflix, just longer. Like, there wasn't any missed complimentary anything.
Okay.
But I think since I wasn't hearing what I wanted to hear, I ultimately was going like, well, I'm just gonna hang it up on no now. But I never want to make a rash decision.
Makes sense.
And so I wanted to sit on it. I wanted to get my mom's opinion. And after talking about it with her, she was like, no, like, as a fifth year going into auditions, I felt like my place on the team was threatened. And as a fifth year, I know leadership is not guaranteed, but you want to go in like feeling cloud nine. You can lead these other teammates that are below you, the new ones. You can lead them into.
Yeah, it's supposed to be almost like a victory lap. The fifth year is a celebration tour.
Exactly, and I'm just like, and what I find very hard is that they were really shocked by that. I feel like if anyone in any career position, having 4 years under your belt, like, you want to see where you're going. You want to see growth.
Right.
And I just decided to put my time and energy elsewhere.
How was the reaction when you told them that you weren't coming back?
I think that they honestly saw it coming. It was very just short and sweet. I just walked into the office and was like, this is what I've decided. Like, after our conversation we've had, I've decided to.
What was the time between that?
So the meetings was Thursday.
Okay.
And then the banquet was on Sunday.
Okay.
And then I told them on Tuesday.
Oh, so it was pretty quick.
Yes.
I feel like maybe I just watched it wrong, but it felt like it was like a month later, but maybe that was just because it was like, it's over now kind of vibe. But okay, it was quick.
It was quick.
Okay, interesting. That's interesting. The leadership part was obviously a huge part of what they showed, and the big, a huge part of the squad, and something you wanted. Did you watch the show? Looking back, did you feel like you got any clarity about what happened there? Is it still kind of a mystery to you why you maybe never got that opportunity?
I think it's still a mystery. And ultimately, I feel like sometimes they just didn't want to see me in that. They kind of, again, pushed the other side of that personal relationship, and they, I think, shut it so tightly where they didn't even see me
as an option.
Yes. And therefore they said that they didn't think that the girls would listen to me or see me as that position. I was like, well, it's because you don't. Like, it starts from the top. And so I think once they made their decision, it was set in stone. There was no way I could do anything to change it.
Yeah. What about your relationship with the other girls? There's obviously so many women on the squad who we don't even really know as Netflix viewers, because there's a bunch of you and we only followed certain storylines, so to say. But how would you describe your part on the squad, your relationship with the girls, at least in the squad that we saw?
I definitely had a hard time just connecting with them. And yeah.
Do you think it's just everyone's a little different, or maybe it started at the top?
Some people did think that I had a advantage just with my relationship with Kelli and Judy, so they kind of maybe just like had their distance and set their distance. But also, I think that 1 year that I had off, in a sense where I feel like I was helping myself, I felt like I was being punished by it.
Oh. Like people moved on and relationships were formed, and then you felt behind ever since, kind of?
Yes.
Not personally,
and
but
it was just like, well, you took a year off.
Oh.
And it's just like, well, I was like helping myself.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that would be like at least just a little applauded, but I think in a way it was kind of like,
Interesting. Well, that's sad.
It is. Because I feel like, also, not to like change topics, I feel like also with like mental health, I think that sometimes is why people don't open up is because they feel like if they do, then they get punished.
Yeah.
Or like stepped down or as weaker. And it's just like, no, I was doing that so I could be better.
And be back for other years.
Exactly.
And be the best version of yourself.
Exactly.
That's so interesting. Is mental health something that like is talked about amongst the cheerleading community, do you think?
I think now it is.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Is that part of your mission?
Yeah, it wasn't at first, but I got so close with Greg, the producer, during Netflix, and I remember it was during my I feel like my testimony episode where I was just sitting on the turf, on the turf with my sweatpants on, and I think even in the show I word it saying I'm just gonna be open about it. I haven't told anyone this, and that's how I started talking about it.
Yeah.
And it's honestly so exhausting having to cover it up.
Yeah.
It is so exhausting. And from, I think, telling that and it being open on such a huge platform that Netflix is, has been that therapeutic release that I've needed.
Oh, that's awesome. How are you now?
I feel so good.
Yeah.
And I'm in this new city, I'm on a new journey, new path, just trying to, I feel like now with DCC, it was very much they are gonna set it for you. Whereas now I can kind of decide what I want to do, where I want to do, what is planned for me.
Yeah.
And so I feel not so I'm stuck here in this relationship almost.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, just a few more questions about DCC before we definitely get back into the journey. There's a lot made up of the birthday. I feel like you know that.
Yes.
And then there's been a TikTok of you talking about the birthday, and then the girls commenting on the TikTok about the birthday.
I know.
What is your take now on the birthday?
Honestly, no envelope invitations were sent out.
Right.
There was I did not make any invitations and set them in girls' locker to be hey, be here at 6.
Right.
So invitations were not sent out. However, it was word of mouth loosely spread. Because I think that morning we were on appearance.
Right.
We were on appearance, and I think that's when Netflix had finally decided within their filming schedule that they were going to be hey, we want to come. We want to celebrate with you. We want to see the whole thing that goes down in the Kalina household. And I was Netflix will be there, cake will be there, the more the merrier. So yeah, it was just loosely floated around, but I don't think anyone.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Have you been in touch with any of those girls now?
They've definitely reached out. A lot of them have and just said that they didn't really know that that's how I felt in my experience there.
Yeah. What do you make of that? Need a little more time? Is it water under the bridge? Or are you just kind of seeing how it's going to play out?
I mean, I'm not there, so it's not if I wanted. I mean, of course, I'm going to respond and heart the message and everything, but I think right now, I'm just being me. You know, I'm just kind of like I said, I'm figuring out my new path, new journey.
Yeah.
And if they want to stick along for the ride, then props to them.
Yeah. So we're in New York. I know we're dancing. What's the ultimate dream right now?
The ultimate dream is Rockettes.
Okay.
That is my dream.
I see it.
Yes. So I just wanted to get up here as soon as possible, get acclimated, because that Rockette style is tough. The way that they break their wrists, elbow, arm, wrist, their head directions are so precise and specific that there are no classes like that offer up in DFW.
Okay.
So I wanted to get up here, train as much as possible as I can in that style.
Okay.
Train with, I have a dance coach, Rhonda Malkin, who has taken me under her wing, and I'm actually in her summer workshop right now.
Nice.
So just trying to soak that all in and adjust the habits of DCC that have ingrained in me to now Rockette habits.
Yeah.
But honestly, I went to go see The Great Gatsby as well. And
I mean,
oh my goodness, I could totally see myself on Broadway as well. That would be a dream. So I'm also trying to find a voice coach.
Okay.
Because that's one thing I've never dabbled in is acting and or singing. So yeah, I'm gonna be open to anything. I'm gonna attend any and all auditions that are out there.
That's awesome.
So we'll see.
When do obviously Christmas season is the Rockettes, but when do our auditions for the Rockettes?
They have auditions in the spring,
Okay.
the late spring. So around April, May.
Okay, so it would be like for next.
Yes.
Got
for
it.
2025.
Okay. So now when you're like walking around New York City, has anyone approached you like, are you the cheerleader? Are you this? Do I know you?
Yes. If not, I will be. I hate talking about myself in this sense, but it's happened everywhere I've gone, at least once.
Yeah.
And Times Square, crazy.
So billboard, you're right there?
Yes, it's crazy. But yes, I have, and I absolutely love it just because, I mean, that's how I remember, like, my, I guess, idol icon would be Candace Cameron Bure.
Okay.
From Fuller House and Full House and Hallmark. And I know if I would, like, I
Run
would be,
into her?
yes, if I were to run into her, like, you would have to have so much courage to go up to them. And so I just, like, applaud all these people who come up to me, who ask for pictures. Like, I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And just feeling that, hearing what the compliments that they say, the impact that I've had is just like, man, you need those good vibes right there.
Has that soaked in yet? Because so many people watched this show and are still watching it. And you're definitely, obviously, with being on TV comes with a lot of reactions. But for the most part, I hope that you're feeling the love because I'm seeing it in your comments on Instagram, on TikTok. Like, people are really connecting with you. And do you feel it?
I do. And I have some messages that come up and be like, don't listen to the haters. And I'm like, I honestly haven't come across
hopefully I don't have
them.
any of those.
Well, no, I know, like, not everyone is going to love you.
Yeah.
But I honestly haven't come across a lot
That's awesome.
of that, which I'm super grateful for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was like, it's kind of I feel like a little bit of a hot topic of like how the cheerleaders are paid and that whole thing. And now you're in New York, which is an expensive city. So how we doing with the budget? What's the plan?
Okay, well, I have to give major compliments to my family and my mom for one, living in Dallas.
Yeah.
In the Dallas area so I could live at home. And I think being able to live at home and my mom help provide for like just groceries.
Yeah, you
and
save a lot.
I saved a lot living at home. And I always knew that like DCC was up here, Rockettes or New York was up here. Like they were the same equaled goals for me. So I always, starting out, just wanted to be like, I want to prepare for my next thing. And she was like, well, that's gonna be with probably living at home, saving up, because New York is gonna be expensive and like I'm not gonna be able to move up there.
Yeah.
So I definitely had planned accordingly.
What's the plan to stay in touch with your mom? Are you on the phone every day? What are we doing? When's she coming? Like, I feel like you guys are pretty close. This must be an adjustment.
Well, I just have been here for 2 weeks. She's already back.
That's adorable.
But also, that's also because at the end of this performance workshop, we do have a little mini performance.
Okay.
So she wanted to come and experience that, especially since she's not coming into the studio and seeing me just dance my
totally.
that she needs the chance and opportunities that she can get. So she's up here now.
Okay.
But before that, we talked all the time on the phone. I would call her when I'm walking back from the studio or what have you.
I love that.
FaceTime every night.
Yeah, good. You need that. And then that's honestly, it's like a different kind of relationship and almost like you grow in a different way.
Yes.
With your mom. Oh.
We're not there yet, but I think it'll happen.
Yeah, it will. It's only been 2 weeks. Please. I still talk to my mom every day too. She's in Florida. What about dating? We touched a little bit on that. So I feel like everyone kind of talked about that a little bit, like the pressure of being in Dallas and, you know, like in the South, being a cheerleader and just in general, like people tend to get married a little younger. Here we got everything going on, so you can choose your own adventure. But what do we think? Are we going to go on the apps? Are we going to focus on the dance for right now? What are we doing?
Okay. Well, let me tell you the stress about that because honestly, being single on DCC, the single gals was the minority.
Okay.
Like either everyone was either engaged, about to get married, planning their wedding, married already, and it was just like, man, I am behind.
But you're not.
No, of course not. But I was just like, how am I going to find my man?
Yeah.
Especially since, I mean, all I did in Dallas was go to Joffrey, go to practice, maybe go to Target. I mean, that was pretty much
if
it.
You weren't marrying the cashier at Target. Who are you meeting?
That was my life. And now I see myself like, since I do get to find that like my own life journey. So I'm hoping to just like really focus on dance. Like that's my main goal. But if I do have a fun night out, like I want to.
Yeah.
So I have joined the apps.
Okay. Which one? If you feel comfortable.
Raya.
Okay, nice.
Yes, I've joined Raya and Hinge.
Okay.
So we'll see.
We'll see. That's fun.
We'll see.
It's scary, but fun.
It is scary.
Yeah.
Especially because it's just like, I don't know. I feel like it's different meeting someone organically, but when you know you're like, I'm about to meet this person for the first time, there's like that pressure.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh. But like whenever you meet them organically, it's just very natural. It's very just like you and your setting, you and your space. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Do you think you would prefer someone who has watched the show or someone who hasn't?
It depends on what they think of the show. Like, what's your opinion? Do you love it? Do you hate it? What do you think about me? So,
how do you feel about the Cowboys now? Are you going to be watching every weekend, or do you still need a little,
I still love the Cowboys, and I do still love the DCC, but I think it's just like I'm not going to be the first one to like sign up for the alumni halftime.
Right. Fair.
Unless like I feel like I've processed through it all.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm a Texas girl. I love football.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna still spend my Sundays watching football.
Okay, I need best memory from your time as the DCC, and if you have any regrets.
Okay. My best times, I have two. One was being a legacy. Like, I always knew that there would be a special connection and a special bond that like held my mom and I together. I mean, obviously without DCC, but like that's just so special. There's only 5 of us as legacy DCCs. And being able to perform that alumni halftime, like we were right there next to each other. So that was special, and like no one will be able to say like, hey, I performed with my mom, like with the Cowboys.
That's very special.
So that was super special. And then also Queen. The concert with Queen was unbelievable. And I got to kind of experience it full circle, being a training camp candidate when the girls performed for the first time back in 2019. And then coming back and now I'm performing on the stage. It was like, whoa.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And like, Adam Lambert's amazing. Brian May is incredible. And it was just an amazing opportunity.
Okay, that is so cool. Any regrets?
Any regrets? I don't know, because I don't love to say that I would have any regrets, because I think your life happens just as it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And I think just like I was meant to get cut that first year that I tried out, just like I was meant to have that year off, I think it was like all meant to happen the way it played out.
Yeah. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
And then maybe
and like now I'm here, so I mean, how could I regret anything that's
Very
led me
true.
up to here?
I know you have to return the uniforms, but do you guys get to keep anything?
No.
No, not even the shoes?
Not the boots.
Not the boots.
Not the boots. But we do get to keep our nasty practice tennis shoes.
Great.
I mean, I don't think anyone would want my pair.
Dang.
But we also do, like, Cowboys has a big sponsorship with Nike. So they'll sometimes gift us, like, a cute t-shirt that's Cowboys or here and there, or we'll get gifted from our sponsors, and we can get to keep all that.
Okay.
But anything that's uniform attire, practice attire, it's all for them.
That's
I know.